One, action.
Hello everyone, welcome to Exhibit 320. We'll be talking I'm Prayag Chakradhar, the curator of the gallery, and we are doing a live with MASH. And we'll be talking about our ongoing show, Flow and Flow, which is curated by Jessel Tucker. The show mostly talks about, how, if we talk about breath, so you know that we inhale and exhale the breaths in a very rhythmic manner, and we don't realize it, and we are bound to observe with our memories, expressions, and through our sensory organs. The show records the harmony and frequency of perceptions. And if we talk about artists are very sensitive for, in this process. There's an audacity, the reflection of chaos and order. There are patterns and symmetry. What can be observed, as we are looking at Manish Pushkale's work, he's a Delhi-based artist. His work is a pictorial exercise of the immediate significance of language and the very essence of the language. Through this series of 100 canvases, he's tried to show and explore the primitive language. So his work talks about one of the great Annalise tribe. So his works try to explain that there was a woman who used to communicate with birds, and she had written 100 letters to the president. That woman belonged to the great Annalise tribe, and these artworks are like the messages of those letters, and trying to preserve and sustain the language which was lost. And it's not only the language which got lost, it's also the philosophy, the thought, the process which got lost with the women. So his work tries to recreate and inherit in the essence of that particular language, and tries to preserve the fragments of the language. Again, if you see in Manish's work, he's done very detailed work. This is a very different work he did. And if you can see in the details, he's tried to use the medium of stitching, as stitching is something which connects each and every one. It connects the politics, it connects the thought of a person, and so how by using the patterns of stitch, he's tried to connect each and every culture to that language which he's trying to communicate. And then we go to Somakshi's work. So if you see Somakshi is a Delhi-based artist again. This work is titled Synonyms 1 and 2, and it starts with the Borges story in which the mapping is done, and to make the map of the empire, there's no space left to store it, and the mapping is just laid on the floor and in the actual territory from point to point, covering the entire thing that the map was meant to represent. And eventually the map, by the time and age, it merges into the territory. So Somakshi's work talks about the relationship of time and change, formulated by the threads, knots, and manifest images of plants in the form of overall structure. From time to time, the real flowers and the plants are dry, and which is being tied with the thread somewhere. It will merge and decay over the period of time. So Somakshi's work is a constant process. The work here is finished, but there is still a process which will last for a very long time. So when the plants are decayed, and they will merge into the frame, and but still there will be some element and essence of the fragments of that particular flower or a leaf which will stay forever. And so this is how she tries to map it, and letting the temporary forms leave behind and the graceful. And here we have Smriti Dixit's work. She's a Bombay based artist. She uses different patterns and cloth as a medium. She explores with different mediums, and her palette is stained with various pigments, clothes that it suit, and in the area of texture and colors, there are heavy materials, light material, transparent. Some of them are transparent, opaque. What Smriti does is she manages to manipulate the form, and managing such a huge form and making it from the where Somakshi's work it is created by the layers and layers and layers of thread. What Smriti does is starts with an empty form and try to bind it and create something so massive. And also her work is a constant process of creation and experimentation. Often the efforts to communicate the concept of rebirth, recycling and renewal to the viewers. Dikshit makes, as you can see in her work, she makes no attempt to tidy the surface, nor is she concerned with the tears and damages in the process, because the work should look as it is and it should depict what it's trying to represent. So the work are called Hibiscus River, and it mostly talks of, and everywhere she has displayed this work multiple times. Everywhere she has displayed this work, it always changes the meaning and thoughts of the work. Something is always added to the work, something is subtracted from the work, and it always gives a different meaning. Here we have Priya Sundarvalli, who's an Auroville-based artist. Her work, usually she uses ceramic as a medium to express in her work, and her work mostly talks about the wholeness and through the process of unity of opposites. She's a scientist and an artist, and but she tries to merge the combination of both and try to create the chaos and harmony in her work. And there are some what she does is there are some imperfections, there are some way from the imperfections to the very detail of the work. Her work mostly focuses on the textures, the rhythms, the essential element to step out in order to touch the intangible qualities. There is silence and vibration in her work. And as we talk about the flow, as you can see, it's like the silver fog in the wind, in the waves, and that's the flow she's tried to create in her work. And if we look into detail into Priya's work, what we can see is there are so many beautiful things which we tend to escape and not notice, but they still exist under the radar. What she implies in her work are the hidden words of that, and which helps her reveal the process and the transformation. I'd like to thank MASH India for this wonderful live, and please do visit our show